Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for watching, Mad Mexico. The tournament is excellent. Like, it's super exciting. Alright, so. Raven's Warning, 10x more fancy than good. Bloodski Berserker's a good black-red gold card, but a lot of black decks can't use it well. Finn's just a good 2-drop, nothing special, but very solid. Same thing with Kaya's Onslaught out of white aggro decks. The best common in this pack is probably Feed the Serpent. I'm totally willing to play black when it's open, but I do value black cards a little bit lower. Like, I'll first pick, like, a black rare, but I'm not looking to first pick Feed the Serpent, even though it's as good as, like, a Bound to Gold or Demon Bolt, because the color does matter, and black is exceptionally bad in this format. So I think here it's probably Finn. And I think Finn and Feed the Serpent are pretty close in how good they are, like all colors aside anyway. It's pretty bad to first pick a Finn, I think, but it's a fine 2-drop. Like, green's pretty defensive, and a 1/3 Death Touch can be annoying. But I also don't think, like, you're poisoning people out hardly ever out of a green snow deck or something like that. I wish I could have first picked either Path or Svella. Where were these cards last pack? So, I want Path and Svella, but I have to choose one. Easy Path. I mean, it does come with the cost of having to put 5 colors of lands in your deck. I mean, it doesn't die to removal, so that part is good. Svella is a little more powerful, but it's also easier to answer. I mean, it is pick 2, so we have the rest of the draft to prioritize the right lands to get the 5 colors of mana we need. I think it's pretty close. I think I'm going to go with Path, just because when you're talking about cards that are this powerful, you're mostly interested in them being harder to interact with. But Svella is more powerful than Path, I think. So I think it's a pretty close pick. I see no reason not to just take Mass Vandal here. Vengeful Reaper might be slightly better, but we're looking at a 5-color green deck. And this is a good early game green 2-drop. Pretty easy Shimmerdrift Veil if we're going to draft a 5-color green Path deck. There's nothing wrong with taking Svella there. I don't know which pick is right. Honestly, that felt super close to me between Path and Svella. Path and Svella are both cards I love. Like, I'm very high on both of those. I've probably drafted some red-green deck, like, with like a red-green base snow at some point. I don't know that I've drafted Gruul aggro. I like Battershield Warrior and Boros. I don't think it's anything special, but I think it's like, a third, fourth pick quality card that you're always going to play or whatever. Like, once you're already, white aggro. Like, if I have to first or second pick it, I'm pretty unhappy because you don't want to splash it. It's only good in a white aggro deck. But yeah, once you're already white aggro, I think it's a good card. Okay, so the Lindworm Sculptor pick again. But this time, it's the opposite of what we faced in the Sweatsuit Invitational. I have defensive 2-drop, no late game except Path. So this time we go Lindworm. Oh yeah, I agree we'd be able to cast Reaper. But Reaper off the splash, assuming black isn't going to be a main color, is that actually even better than, like, Vandal not off the splash? It's not like I'm not planning to have black sources in my deck, but I'm going to end up with, like, 9 green sources and, like, 4 or 5 black sources, most likely. Well, I don't know what success means. I mean, I've done okay in this format. I made Mythic last season. My final ranking was, like, nothing special or anything. So Mass Vandal or Arcanist. We don't have any spells, so I think we'll just take Mass Vandal number 2. This looks like an opportunity to grab a Snow Forest. That's a snow land we can play any number of, because green is our base color. Heck, we're actually mono green at this point. It's not going to stay like that. It's just a coincidence. I don't really consider the port there. It's still pretty hard to activate. The double green sack lands are a lot better. Like, as you saw, we lost a close game to Talia Game 3 because we didn't have blue-blue-white to activate gates. I'm not saying that means we shouldn't play, like, Gates. It's kind of free, like, it's just a white source. You know, we were happy to have it. But, like, you know, while I will play Port, it's still double black to activate. It's still hard to activate for us. Black, black, and blue. That said, I'm probably going to take it here, because otherwise it's a black 2-drop, and we don't know that black is a base color yet. So now, I guess, a red-white duel. Even though it's one of the weaker duels, maybe we can play it, and it'll help us activate Path. Seems like a pretty easy Jaspera Sentinel. With this many early drops, Sentinel should be good. Good opportunity to grab 1 Snow Plains. I don't think there's any way we're going to use any of these, but we're definitely not drafting aggro. All of our cards are basically defensive. Path is a fixer and a late game card. Lindworm's a late game card. Vandals are 1/3s, and Finn is a 1/3. 1/3 Death Touch. We have, like, the most defensive start in history. Could we still be elves? Yeah. Path and Lindworm aren't going to be nearly as good in elves. But, I mean, the Vandals and the Finn are good in elves and the Sentinel. So, I mean, I guess it's conceivable if we open, like, Herald or something. Maybe that's a reason to take, like, Death Knell Berserker or something. So this pack doesn't look amazing. Bergstrider is probably the best overall card for our deck. Or there's, like, Snow Island, Green-Blue Duel. Sword's pretty good if you're a late-game deck. We actually have 3 white sources plus Path already, but, like, white is probably the color you pair the least with green as far as snow control. Green-white aggro is fine. That's just a different archetype. But, not looking to play green-white aggro full of mass Vandals and Finn. I think Bergstrider is the pick here. Like, we're looking fine on lands. We're mono-green with a Path, a Sentinel. So, I think we just want the power. Like I said, it's kind of the opposite of the way the draft went in the Sweatsuit Invitational. We're good on early game. Look at all our cheap cards, but we don't have a lot of late game power. So something like Bergstrider offers us a decent amount. So assuming we're going to do blue-green base with double port, we do want to. This is tricky. Remember, even though these are double black, they're blue lands. They tap to add a blue. So it's hard to play double port, your blue duels, and a basic island to search for if blue is not a main color. So you want these to tap to add the colors of your main, and then the double the sack be like your main 2 ideally, but if not, then it's better if that's a splash. When you're a 5-color green deck. When you're like a 2-color deck and you're splashing, then you would rather have these be your splash color so that they're double of your main to sack. So here there's Morite, Mistwalker, and Shimmerdrift Veil. I don't think we need the Veil. Like I said, we're pretty good on mana. These are pretty good cards for us. I think I'm just going to take Mistwalker. If blue's going to be a main color, Mistwalker's pretty good at gumming up the board. People are doing a lot of aggro these days. Mistwalker's hard to attack into, and it's a good win condition. Like, I'm a pretty big fan of Mistwalker in this type of deck. Hey, thanks, Equations of Motion. Appreciate the generous 100 bits. Congrats on hitting Mythic for the first time last season. That's awesome. And thank you for gifting out a sub as well. I do appreciate it. So how's 3 seasons? We're not going to play a second Snow Plains, so there's nothing great for us. We could, you know what? Trickster's God Heist looks pretty good, though. If you can give them a small creature, then this is a good card. If you have to give them a big creature, it's a bad card. We've already got Sentinel, Finn, 2 Vandals, and we're only at the start of Pack 2. I'm going to take the God Heist, and then we'll see if we table the 3 seasons. I don't really like 3 seasons that much. Like, it's playable if you're heavy snow, but I don't think it's a very good card. So now, white-blue duel, medium usefulness. It's kind of like a free white source. Blue-white duel. That looks pretty good because blue, like I said, is looking like a main color with Mistwalker, God, Heist, and Bergstrider. In which case, we want our duels to be blue and green, ideally. So, blue or green. So, Floodplain gives us a white source. For us, bite off the splash. Like, if you're heavy enough snow that it's going to deal 3, you're going to do it, but it's not very exciting. The flip land's obviously a better duel in terms of coming to play untapped, but this is a snow land. Not that we have cards that really make us need a million snow lands in this deck, but I mean, given we're pretty good at snow mana, I think we want to take the snow duel, because we'll prioritize, Ice-Hide Trolls and stuff like that. Okay, easy Svella. This is not an interesting pick. Svella by miles and miles and miles. I thought Svella was a super close pick with Path pick 2. I don't think it's close at all right now, of course. Sculptor is excellent for these kind of decks. We don't have a Snow Swamp yet. We'd like to get one, but not over such a good 2-drop as Sculptor for a Snow Ramp deck. So more often than not, I would take Mask Vandal over Snow Forest. I actually think Mask Vandal is absolutely excellent, but we already have 2. And while I will play 3, it is diminishing returns. You have to have another creature to exile from your graveyard, and they have to have another artifact or enchantment for you to kill. So now I'm going to grab Snow Forest over Vandal number 3. Hey, thanks, Sackbar. Appreciate the subscription. All right, pretty easy Waking the Trolls. Fine win condition, especially if you have this much cheap stuff. I don't think it's a great card or anything, but there's like nothing in that pack. I think it's fine. I don't think these cards can matter. Sorry, cards. You mean nothing to me. So now there's Broken Wings or Grizzled Outrider. Is there any way we're going to play the Outrider? We have a 5-drop, a 4, a 6, another 6. Probably not. But this is best of 1 now, so I don't know that we're going to main the Wings, but I might main the first Wings. Even with 2 Vandals, we don't have a lot of removal, as you can see. We're not going to play second Snow Plains, since we already have 1, so now I'm going to grab 3 Seasons. Let LSV sleep. Actually, do wake him up, because he'll just go right back to sleep whenever he wants, wherever he wants. One of the most ridiculous things, like, I've ever seen, like, LSV's sleep powers. There was this one time in the CFB, like, testing house back in the day. We had, like, the lights on, and there were, like, 10 people in, like, Ephro's living room chatting about the format, and, like, the television was on, and it was so weird and funny. LSV looks over at someone, I think it was Jerry T, and is like, hey, could you scoot over a little bit? And he had plenty of space, so, like, Jerry or whoever looks at him kind of weird, and Luis is just like, just a little bit, please. So they scoot over, and then LSV just puts his head down and goes to sleep. This is literally in the middle of the living room with the TV on, 10 people talking, the lights on. It was one of the most absurd things I've ever seen. I was, like, so jealous at the time. Literally, like, I couldn't fall asleep in that spot. If you were literally like, Ben, if you fall asleep in the next 5 minutes, like, without changing the scenery, I'll pay you $1 million. I'd be out $1 million. Like, there's no way I could do it. Like, it was literally 10 people arguing about, you know, magic and, like, talking and, like, the TV on and the lights on in just, like, a crowded living room. Okay, so... Oh, yeah, I'll change the stream info after the draft. So we don't have a basic island yet that's snow. We don't need one, but it's nice to have in case you want a path for an island, then you can go get your snow island. We do have plenty of white sources. Is Shepherd good for us? It actually looks decent. We have 2 Vandals, Path, Sculptor, 3 Seasons, Finn. That's a lot of decent things that go to the yard to get back. Shepherd might actually be quite good for this deck, strangely. I don't know. Do we want Island, Bergstrider, or Shepherd? Clarion Spirit's better than Shepherd and White Weenie, but Clarion Spirit's not great off the splash. Shepherd, though, is excellent for this deck off the splash. I think I'm going to take Shepherd. It gives us a flyer to block opposing flyers, and it's the start of pack 2, and we already have, like, 7 cards that cost 2 or less that go to the yard. And that doesn't even count these sack lands and stuff. Well, this pick's not going to be hard. Showdown of the Scalds is S-tier broken. Even though red and white are splashes, our mana's fine. We can definitely splash that with Sentinel and Path and all our duels and Veil and so on. Easy Showdown of the Scalds, of course. Doesn't look like there's anything exciting for us in this pack. Helm at double black is tough. I think there's an opportunity to get a good duel. We've got quite a few red cards. Spell is an early card, Showdown, Waking, so I think a red-green duel looks good. Are we going to play any lands that aren't snow or duels? Probably, because we're probably not going to play 3 ports, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 10, 11 lands at the moment, all of which are capable of making our deck pretty easily. I don't think Mystic Reflection's great, but I also might be undervaluing it. I heard some decent write-up on how to use it as, like, a removal or a trick or something, and I've never really used it that effectively, so I think I might be undervaluing it. I'm not 100% on how to, like, really get the most out of that card. Draugr Necromancer, on the other hand, is busted, and even though black's our lightest color, we're looking to do a single black, light black splash anyway, and this card costs single black, so no real decision here. So now we do have plenty of power. I don't think we want Narfi's Betrayal. Rimewood Falls looks good. Narfi looks good. We don't have a million black sources, But Narfi is pretty good, and will pump the Vandals, the Sculptor, the Mistwalker. I'm not sure if this is Narfi or Rimewood Falls. I think it's really close. 6, 6, 4, 5. We don't have a ton of expensive cards, and Narfi pumps most of our cheap green stuff. I think I want Narfi. So now I want this whole pack, but I think I'm going to have to take my first Glittering Frost. Again, Glittering Frost is the kind of card that when you're 5 like this, the first copy is really good. The second copy is pretty good. The third copy is okay. The fourth copy is medium. You know, like, I would play 3 to 4 Glittering Frost in this deck, but the first one is a lot better of a card than the second one. The second one is a lot better of a card than the third one. Because when you have 1, you can never draw 2, and it's a bad card to draw 2 of, and a good card to draw exactly 1 of every game. Alright, easy Lindworm here. Even though I don't have a Snow Swamp to search for, I'll just search for a basic swamp. It's not like this really fixes my mana. Lindworm is excellent. I have plenty of Snowlands. Definitely going to take Lindworm. I don't know how there's a pack made 8th pick, and there's a Bow, and there's a Priest, and a Gates. I'll take this whole pack if I can, but I can't. I think pack made is better than Bow. Bow is excellent, though, and it's somewhat close. Yeah, I don't think Mystic Reflection is very good. I'm not saying, like, there aren't ways to use it, but it seems, like, situational to me. I don't know. Green's our main color, and we're definitely going to have some white, so I'm happy to have Strongholds. Take another Lindworm. Keep them coming. Take all the Lindworms you want to pass me. And all the Strongholds you want to pass me. I think we're probably not going to play Waking the Trolls now that I have 3 Lindworms. I think Waking the Trolls is a fine 6-mana card, but worse than Lindworm. And 3 is already a lot of 6-drops. And 4 is like a ton, and it's not like we're cutting a busted one, so... Yeah, I'm not saying we're going to play all the ports. We didn't end up getting many blue cards. So the thing about ports is, even though they're hard to sack, they're an island. So, like, if I don't want this many islands in my deck, I'll certainly cut the ports, no problem. They're hard to sack. But if I do want islands in my deck, then I may play a port over an island, right? So it's gonna be more about the mana base than it is about port. All right, let's see. So anything bad in here? Only really 3 seasons. But we have a ton of snow stuff, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 snow lands. 9, 10, 11, and this is a pretty broken card, and so is this. 12, 13. 14, yeah, so I want to play 3 seasons with this many power broken snow cards. Plus, we have to add cards, not cut cards anyway. So I'm not really in a position to be cutting things. So what do we want to play? I still don't want to play Waking the Trolls, though, because I don't want that many expensive cards. I don't want to get run over. Probably try and play, like, the 3-1 lifelink. Even though it's pretty awful off the splash, it's still single black, and it's a good card for a deck like this. And the Mill 3 is semi-useful. It puts creatures in the yard for Mass Vandal. It puts cards in the yard for Shepherd. It could put Narfi in the yard. It actually has quite a bit of synergy for me. I mean, I hate to splash Ox, but, I mean, it's probably the best card in the board right now. I drafted lands galore. I ended up a couple of playables short. So, 06 it is for our control deck. Alright, so then let's do the mana. 17 lands. We have Path, Frost, Sentinel, so we definitely want 9 green minimum. 1, 4, 5, 8. So just like one more forest. And then, how many blue cards? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and nothing really early. So yeah, we definitely want an island to search for, and these ports are like near impossible to activate. So let's assume something like that. And then that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 potential blue for 5 cards. Could use one more maybe. And then for white, 1, 2. It's a pretty light color, so we certainly don't need more, but we don't want to cut the 1 plains. So we have these, which are double white, but we'll hopefully draw Sculptor, Meadow, Floodplain, whatever. We can't put a second Plains in the deck, but I don't think we want to cut the 1 when we have 3 Strongholds. Swamp, I'm sure we're going to play the 1. We have like 2 black cards. And Mountains, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we could cut a Mountain probably, plus the Frost and the Sentinel and the Path. And we have like 2 red cards. Yeah, we don't need 2 Mountains. We just need 1. So the only thing, that's the lands that we have to play. And then we have 1 more basic to put in, basically. Which I think should probably be an island. So something like that. I was on 9 green, not 8, right? If it was if I only had 8 green, I'd rather have the 9th green than the extra island. But if I already have 9 green, I'd rather have the extra island than the 10th green. 4, 5, 8, 9. Yeah, we already have 9 green. Yeah, we have a decent amount of tap lands, and the port is really hard to activate for us. So I think I'll play 1 port, but I think I'm gonna go with 1 extra island. It's really close, Skits. I went with 2 islands, 1 port. Listen, it's a close call between a port and an island. I mean, we have a lot of tap lands, but also activating a port can win you a game, but black, black, blue is really hard for us. I don't think it's a big mistake between, like, I don't think second port or second island is a big mistake either way, and I don't really know, to be honest. But I decided to go with island. My reason for going with island is because we have a lot of tap lands, but I'm not saying that's definitely correct. Yeah, Awakening the Trolls is fine here, but we just have 3 Lindworms plus Path, like, good late game, like, all these broken rares. Like, I don't think we want to play Waking in this deck. It's fine, I just think it's like, you know, with Lindworm is better, and we already have 3 cards that just hard cost 6. This hand's pretty ugly. I think I have to mulligan. Can't really cast anything. Alright, this looks a little better. I mean, we can't cast much, but put back, like, Trickster God Heist. Hopefully we can dual land, Foretell, hopefully Broken Wings. I don't know. I haven't seen that much Strixhaven yet, like, to be honest. I'm not huge on previews, as everybody knows. Like, I'll check them out, but, like, and, like, I don't, like, you know, live in a cave, but, like, you know, I really don't really, like, study each card as it comes out. I like to just kind of play a lot right when the set comes out and not think a lot about the set before it comes out. That's been a strategy of mine for years now. Hey, thanks Habahut. Appreciate the subscription. Also, if I didn't already say so, thank you Pedro from Brazil for gifting out a sub. That's really generous. Really appreciate the support. Okay, no real decisions, right? No, nothing we can do. This is going to be the old turn 4 showdown with no creatures out, maybe. Not ideal, but, I mean, it sees a lot of cards to help us find blue sources and stuff, and we don't have anything else going on. So, do we Broken Wings the Raptor or the Raven Wings? That's the question at the moment. Certainly going to cast it now while my mana's up. The question is which. I mean, the Wings is kind of expensive, and we have a 3/3 flyer. Kind of feel like the Raptor to slow them down, since my hand is slow and powerful. I mean, the Wings is more powerful than the Raptor, but I think I want to slow them down if I can, because next turn if I play Showdown, I'm not impacting the board. So I think I just want to take damage off the board more. My opponent's name is Alex Dreamer. Okay, well, now I'm going to play Mistwalker over Showdown. Showdown's a bomb, but, you know, it doesn't block. You'd rather play it next turn for sure, when you already have a creature out, and you can play the land immediately. So, if you get 2 lands off Showdown, and you play it turn 4, you can only play one of them on turn 5. If you play it on turn 5, you can play a land on turn 5 and on turn 6. So, I mean, it's much better to put out, like, one good blocker and then play Showdown than it is to just, you know, run Showdown on turn 4. In fact, if I draw a land, I'll probably just play Narfi. If I don't draw a land, then I'll probably Showdown. Okay, well, now we can't Narfi, so now let's Showdown. Okay, so if we had only hit one land, I'd play the tap land this turn. But like I said, you can only play one land a turn, and you only get like 2 turns to play these cards. So you want to play a land so that next turn you can then play the other land, and you don't lose either one. So I'm going to, next turn I can play land, and then Lindworm or Sculptor. So I'm going to play Lindworm, and I'll just lose the Sculptor. I wish I could Broken Wings the Clarion. That wasn't an option. I could do the Spirit, but that's just a 1-1 instead of the 1-2. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. So they killed the Mistwalker. That's pretty bad for me. But I have Shepherd, but I don't want to play it this turn because I lose these cards. So I think this turn is just play Lindworm. I lose the +1/+1 counter, but that's alright. It's a 6/6. Get my 4 life. Then hopefully next turn, Shepherd plus Stronghold, and then, do we have double white? No, so we still need one more white before we can activate Stronghold. So the Flyers are a bit of a problem, and they seem to have a lot of them. I mean, they have wings too. Like, Shepherd's a Flyer, we can throw it out there and block, but opponent actually has quite a few. So this is black, black, blue, so we still can't sack that. Nothing to get back with Shepherd. So our choice is Narfi or Shepherd, and then Stronghold or Port. We need to draw a black to activate Port. We need to draw a white to activate Stronghold. I think we play Shepherd, even though there's nothing to get back. The Flyers seems we just want to trade it off, I think, and buy time. And then I think I play Port, because I don't think I'm activating Stronghold yet next turn if I'm trading Shepherd off this turn. But if I do draw the black source, I might sack Port and just get Shepherd back or something. Port Shepherd's actually pretty cool, right? If I trade the Shepherd off, I can then sack the Port to get back the Shepherd, and then Shepherd gets back to Port again. It's kind of a loop. I mean, I don't have the second Swamp, and I'm probably going to die. I'm probably just going to get run over and die here. But if I had a little more time and I had the black, that's a cool loop I've never had, Port and Shepherd. So we'll just block the biggest one. Even though they're the same power, remember this one's getting +1/+1, that one's not. So now we have mana for Narfi in 3 seasons. Are we going to die? 3, 6, 8? Well, 8's not 9. I mean, we're in bad shape, but if we do crack the Stronghold next turn, we still might be able to win. And there's not really any reason to have 2 ground blockers. I mean, 1 isn't even blocking anything, assuming they put the wings on the Spirit. Really, I think this game might... If they kill us this turn, they kill us this turn. But if not, this game might come down to whether we find a white source or not. Because if we sack Stronghold and give these both lifelink, we should win the game. But I don't have a white source to get back from the yard or anything. So we just have to top deck a white source. And that's if they don't kill us. They only need an additional 2 damage to kill us. Alright, that's not additional damage, so we're live. I don't think we have many outs, but on-tap white source would work. I don't think Ox works. We can cast it, but we can't sack Port or Stronghold. I think we're dead. Good game. I have not created any cubes, let alone many cubes. I've created 1 battle box. That was a lot of fun. I haven't worked on it in years, but I've never made a cube. Well, we were planning to gain a lot of life, Michael Bolas. I mean, listen, I'm not saying I got unlucky or something. We don't have that many white sources. The Strongholds, we have to get lucky to activate when we want to. But we weren't worried about going to 1 because we were going to die the following turn unless we drew the white source. If we sack the Stronghold, we gain, what, 11, 13 life? So at that point, who cares about the 1? Yeah, I mean, listen, my mana bases in the Sweatsuit Invitational and this deck are fine, but they're not perfect. So, like, when you do have to pay a cost to playing 4 to 5 color compared to paying 2. So, I mean, yes, the mana has been letting us down today, but also, like, that's the nature of doing business with 5 color decks, right? So we kind of want green and blue from this. So I think I'm just going to hold it for a turn or two. I know it comes into play tapped, but if we draw an island, we really want to name forest. And if we draw a forest, we really want to name island. If I don't draw either, I probably have to name forest, because that's what all my fixing is in. But we have a lot of forests. That's an interesting draw. So if I name island this turn, I can play Mistwalker next turn and Necromancer the turn after that. And I've got 9 green sources and only like 3 or 4 blue. So should I gamble here? I mean, I'll lose the game for sure if I don't hit one of the 9 green. But I do have a blue 3-drop that's hard to attack into, potentially. And then a 4-drop and a blue 5-drop. I'm not sure if it's right to name blue or right to name green right now. I like naming blue because I have 9 green sources to draw into and only like 3 blue sources or something. But I also have green fixers I can draw into, and I don't have blue card drawing really. So it's a really close, interesting call. And obviously blue was correct, you know, because I drew forest, so there can be no debate that I named the right color. Go blue. I'm not a Michigan fan. Okay, so I could slam Necromancer. I mean, it's a great card. Granted, I don't have a block on Hulk unless I trade Necromancer for it. What's my other options? Oh, I don't really have any other options, so easy peasy. I don't know, Mike. Any cool stipulation I'm down for. I mean, it kind of defeats the purpose of a stipulation draft if I come up with it. Fire away. If I think it's like too bad or something, I'll maybe reject it. But I'm open to any stipulations. So I might end up having to block that. I mean, you can't race lifelink, but I don't really want to trade off Necromancer. It's a pretty busted card. And I know I have Bergstrider for next turn. So then we can see after that. Give us a couple of turns. I don't think it's worth sacking the bird so I can Vandal. I have Bergstrider for this turn anyway. And I don't really care that much if they gain life. Like, I don't want to let them gain 5 a turn, but, like, I'm not an aggro deck here, right? Like, it's not really that big of a concern. So this is good. We can Broken Wings. We can kill the Courser and then play it with the Necromancer. Is this only creatures? Yeah, because we could also kill this pick, but then we can't play it. Well, you know, if I kill the pick, I can just trade the Bergstrider for the Hulk, and then I can cast the Hulk. So I think for now, I'm just going to pass the turn. I might want to cast Svella, but I don't have any red. So my options for this turn are basically only Broken Wings. The question is Broken Wings the Courser or Broken Wings the pick. I think I Broken Wings the pick because the Bergstrider can then trade with the Hulk, especially if they attack. Okay, they didn't attack, though. So now I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm really not sure. I definitely want to cast this Broken Wings. I mean, yeah, I have the Mask Vandal to deal with the pick later, but the Mask Vandal doesn't kill the Courser. Plus, I can play the Courser. So I think end of turn here, we definitely do the Courser. Now, if they attacked and I could trade Bergstrider for Hulk, then I would do the pick, because then I could play the Hulk thanks to the Necromancer. Well, that's a good draw. So, just going to dump stuff out now. Easy peasy. Do I have an attack? Guess I can attack with the Mistwalker. I don't need it back to block. I can't attack like with one of these just because the Hulk can't block alone, because they can just double block. And then they trade Shieldmate for my 4/4, and that's horrible for me. But I don't need the flyer back this turn. So, okay, I don't care about these creatures. Even if they have a trick to blow me out or whatever, I still don't care. Like, ultimately, I don't really want to take damage. And, like, this 4/4 and this 2/2 honestly just mean nothing to me. So now we have a dead creature for Vandal. So we can, like, Showdown and Vandal, or we can, like, Manalith and Showdown or something. Showdown and Vandal looks really good because we'll probably get a land off Showdown to help us advance towards Svella anyway. So I think we start with Showdown and see what we get. Cool, looks good. I don't think the order of the lands is really going to matter. This just looks like a pretty easy Sculptor and a land. I think I'm at the point where I might actually throw away the Necromancer. Like, not, you know, for nothing, but I'm saying, like, I might double block the Hulk. I really just don't need to be taking their creatures when they die. I mean, I now have Spell Activation, a bunch of cards off Showdown, and my hand has a Lindworm. So I just don't really want to take hits, and if I'm going to have to chump the Hulk, then I think I might as well, like, double block it. It's kind of crazy trading Necromancer, but I think it's probably correct. It's glowing like this because it's a Showdown card, so it lets you know you only have until the end of next turn to cast it. We'll see what they do. I mean, if they're going to grow the Hulk, then my blocks may change. Well, that's a little annoying. Death Touch means I'm going to lose both. I mean, I could just chump it, but I'm still going to have to deal with it later. Granted, I can Mask Vandal away the equipment, so maybe I just chump it now. Before, I was thinking double block, but now I would have to triple block, and it has Death Touch, so I'd lose everything. So I think I'm just going to chump with Mistwalker, my worst creature. The mana from Sculptor is more valuable than the Flyer right now, I think. And then I can just Mass Vandal away the Steel, and, like, I can Mass Vandal away, like, any two of those three, basically. So this turn, I think I want to go, like, Pact Mate, double Mass Vandal. Even though Spell is gas, like, I lose these cards if I don't play them now. Oh, yeah, I forgot I have all the pumps, too. Alright, well, I'm going to pump the creature, I guess. I at least want them to be able to kill. Red-White probably can't kill that if it keeps growing. And I guess now more something I'd attack and block with. And then let's get rid of the Rune Crown first, because Death Touch. And then, do I want to get rid of the Pick, or do I want to get rid of the Spectral? Probably the Spectral, actually, because I don't care about lifelink. I'm going to win this game with card advantage, not with damage, right? Like, I mean, ultimately I'm going to win with damage, but I'm really winning just by taking over the board and being up 10,000 cards. I don't think that I really care about lifelink. So I'm going to +1 the Wolf, get rid of so that it can trade with the Hulk, and I'm going to get rid of the Steel because that's +2/+2. I don't think I really care about the Pick. I have Cardboard Live open. I mean, I'll close it and reopen it again if it's not working, but I can't really do much. It seems like it works periodically and then stops working. You know that Magic is in a good place when your opponent concedes at 31. The best way to kill somebody is not damage, but value. It's actually decking, but the second best way is value. Yeah, I mean, decking is just its own sweet thing. Like, decking, every time you like, not if you mill somebody, like, with, like, you know, Teferi's Tutelage turn 3 and 4, like, that's fine, but, like, that's not that exciting. But, like, natural decking, like, when they just run out of cards because you, like, dealt with everything and they just, you know, literally just deck from their draw steps, that's like, you deserve to have like a trophy mailed to your house. Like, that's the best way to win a game of Magic, and it's not subjective. This is not an opinion. Like, that is just the best way to win a game of Magic. Fact. So, do we want to play Sculptor or Finn? If we play Sculptor, we have access to 4 mana next turn, but we don't have a black source for Necromancer, so I don't think the extra mana does anything for us next turn. So I think I'd rather deal them the 2 poison and 1 damage than 2 damage and no poison. And if we could use 4, like if we had a Swamp, I would play Sculptor so that I could play a 4/4 on turn 3. But we'd have to literally top deck a black source to be able to do that. Doesn't seem that likely. Mistwalker hits for even less than Sculptor until we have mana to sink into it, and we have a tap land to play anyway. So now we'll get out Sculptor and our tap land. I did a couple of the core sets off stream. I didn't really like it. Like, it's fine, but I didn't think it was like that great a format. And I actually really like Kaldheim, so I'd rather just play Kaldheim, I think, than play core set. Alright, so we can play that on on-tap land, and then we can untap it with Sculptor. So how much mana does it give us this turn? If we put it on this untapped island, tap it for 2, Sculptor, tap it for 2, 4, we can cast Necromancer. That looks good. Not really. That pretty much makes this turn scripted. I mean, there's not really... You're not going to do better than that this turn. We don't have 6 for Lindworm. This just literally lets us cast everything. And then I guess we can attack with Finn. If they block, we get their Recluse. If they take it and swing back, this isn't really a race I'm worried about. Like, we have Lindworm next turn, and we're hitting for a lot and the poison, so... Obviously, if they attack, I'm not going to block with Necromancer, but I can attack back unless they have a 4/4. And, I mean, I have a 6/6 gain for next turn. I don't think Eldraine is great, but I think it's good. Like, I think Eldraine is fun. It's interesting. Also, like, it feels almost more, like, constructed with the metagame changing now, because a lot of people are kind of responding to the data and what the way the format has been. So, like, you know, I love when something like that happens in the middle of a format, because you have to change up your evaluation, because, you know, Magic is very dynamic, right? Like, if 6 of your opponents on average are going to be aggro, you want to draft differently than if 4 are. If 4 are going to be aggro, you want to draft differently than if 2 are. So I've kind of still been liking the format, because I almost feel like the format has, like, changed a little bit, it feels like. Like, think about how late all this snow stuff is going now. That wasn't happening 3 weeks ago. And that's kind of made it interesting again. It's kind of made it more fun. Yeah, Sculptor's annoying on Arena. I wish they could just, like, code it in so that it added whatever kind of mana you would want it to add. You know, so that, like, you could just cast a spell and it would use Sculptor for mana. It is pretty annoying. Okay. I'm not saying that play was wrong. I mean, they're already at 6 poison. They could only take 2 more hits from it. But it also didn't seem great. And that thing can't fight anything, so I don't know what their options were like. So, if I attack with all of this, they must block the Lindworm, right? If they block the Sculptor, I just pump, and they die. And then, post-combat, you know what I want to do, though? I want to play the Ox first, because I want the chance that the Cinderheart Giant hits the Ox when it dies, instead of the Mistwalker or the Sculptor. And then I still have 4 mana to go pump, so they have to block Lindworm. And then I'll pump this once, and then I'll play Vandal post-combat and get rid of Arnie. Oh, no, if Cinderheart Giant's dead, Arnie doesn't gain any life, so I don't have to kill Arnie. So the right play here is this pre-combat. Then attack with all 3, because they can't eat Sculptor. They're at 9, so they have to block Lindworm or they die. And now we just go pump, but it was important... What? Auto-tapper? Come on. Whatever. We missed 1 point of damage because the auto-tapper hates me. But it was important we put the Ox out first, because that gave us a chance they would hit the Ox. But we couldn't put two things out first anyway, because then we wouldn't have Pump Pump available, and then they wouldn't have to block the Lindworm. They could eat the Sculptor. Obviously, we missed a point of damage, because the Auto-Tapper hates me, but good beats. There was no reason to Vandal the Arnie unless we weren't going to attack. If we attack and make them trade, the Arnie gains 0 life, and that's the 3rd chapter of it. I mean, you could try and beat them in the air and not let them get the 2-for-1 with the Giant, but, like, we got in, like, 4, which should have been 5 damage with that attack, and then we get to hold the Mass Vandal for another Artifact or Enchantment, because the Arnie's dead anyway if they don't have a creature out to gain life. So I'm pretty sure the right play was exactly what I did, minus the missed pump. Was just Ox pre-combat, attack with all 3, then they're forced to block Lindworm, pump, deal them 5, and then they have, you know, a third of the time they kill Mistwalker, a third Sculptor, a third Ox. Well, this hand is good. Not that ramping Showdown out makes it better. Like, Showdown does the most it can do on, like, you know, turn 5 or 6, not, like, on turn 3 or 4. We'll see what else we draw. Sorry about that, Albert Beef, and good games. But if we don't have better stuff to do, then we could always ramp out Showdown. Although now, of course, I'll probably just play Glittering Frost, because then even if I play Showdown the turn after that, I'll have, like, infinite mana with Glittering Frost Sculptor. Have a good one, Mad Moses. Thank you for your subscription and your support, and have a good one. Okay, no real decisions, except which of our 3 snow lands do we put Glittering Frost on, because all of our lands are already snow. I guess Basic Forest, probably. I could untap it, but I don't even have anything to foretell, so just attack for 2. And now, like, we can use this for blue and black, because we can untap it, so we can play Narfi. If I don't draw a land, I'll probably Showdown, though, because then we can put the lands in play. If I did draw a land, then I'd probably Narfi. Actually, though, they left their mana up, and they're playing blue, so they might have a counter. So I don't really want to play Showdown into their counter, but Narfi's not good to counter at all since it comes back from the graveyard. So I would Showdown this turn normally because I don't have a land to play, and I could play the land immediately off Showdown. But instead I'm going to Narfi because they're blue and they left their mana up, and I don't really want to get my Showdown countered. But Narfi's a perfect card to play into open counter mana because they can't really counter it, because I'll just pay 3 and bring it back. Wow, why didn't they disciple me a turn or 2 earlier? I could have discarded Narfi. So what are we going to discard? My hand is so good. I think it's Trickster's God Heist. I don't really have anything weak to give them. Broken Wings answers Charger. I don't want to discard Spell or Showdown. I guess it's Trickster's God Heist. I wish I still had the Narfi to discard. Hey, thanks for gifting out another sub, Pedro from Brazil. Really appreciate the generosity. So we have 2, 4, 6 mana, effectively. So that looks like a pretty easy turn of Broken Wings and Svella. I don't really see any reason to do anything else or even consider anything else. Showdown's only getting better. Just call something we don't have. I guess blue. This is cool. Now we have Showdown to win with and Svella to win with. So they have to answer like 2 different cards, basically. And we already have, like, 7 mana in play. If we draw a land, we can activate Svella. Assuming they don't kill Sculptor. I did the sweatsuit. I lost round 1. Disappointing. I'm going to have to draft more consistent decks. I think my deck was good, and I think the mana was fine, but lost some good games to a Boros deck where I didn't draw blue in game 1, and then I drew a lot of lands and not the blue-white to activate my gates in game 3. So, it just is what it is. I mean, when you draft these, like, 4 and 5 color decks, it is higher variance. You know, you do have to pay a cost, even if you have enough sources. unfortunate that, we can't draw a little better, but it is what it is. Oh, I don't actually wear sweatsuits. I wear sweatpants, like, almost every day, and then, like, t-shirts. If you've ever seen me, I'm probably in Adidas sweatpants and a t-shirt. Okay, no real choices here, I guess. I mean, if they want to play a spell to kill Narfi, I don't even really care, I don't think. I mean, with blue-black, I don't even know what they're going to play. Like, the +2/+0 card? I guess they can play the +2/+0 card on Disciple, and then the Bloodski doesn't die. But if I put the Narfi's Betrayal on the Disciple, and that dies and comes back, I lose Showdown. So I think this is just a pretty easy Narfi on Bloodski Berserker. I don't want to lose Svella. Narfi going to the yard means almost nothing to me. And I don't even want to kill Elderfang Disciple, given the one card in my hand is Showdown, and if they do have the +2/+0 and it comes back, that would be horrible for me. Okay, so I didn't draw a land. So I think we Manalith Showdown this turn. And then next turn we can use Svella. Guess I didn't have to do that first. Little sloppy. Yeah, if they played a trick, it would be their second card. But again, they'd only be eating a Narfi, which is like, who cares? It comes back. It's Narfi, right? Like, would I sack Narfi to save 5 damage? Probably. It comes back from the dead anyway, right? So next turn, we just want to dump all this stuff out before they go away, and then I don't think we can possibly lose. I don't know what they have, but we're not really under pressure, and we're up a million cards. Oh yeah, Showdown is total first pick S tier. Like, I don't know what in the set it is, but it's, top something, Like, Starheim Unleashed is #1 in the set, in my opinion. And then after that, it's probably like Coma and, Blood in the Snow and Battle of Frost and Fire and Showdown and some other rares. So I need 4, 7, 9 mana this turn. I have 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, if they're tapping that, there's no way for me to use it to cast any of these. We're not in my main phase. So I think what I want to do is use the mana to make a Manalith, probably. Since I can still cast 2 of the 3 of these, and that's basically the best I can do. And I'm not activating Svella this turn. But if I tap 1 and make a Manalith, I have, like, effectively these 2, and then I can use the Manalith immediately. So 3, and I have a Manalith. That leaves me 3, 7. Yep, it works. So I can't cast all 3 no matter what, but I can cast 2 either way, so I might as well get an extra Manalith. Okay, and then which 2 of these do I want? I want Packmate the most by far. So let's play that. And then probably Mistwalker, but I don't know for sure. Oh yeah, I would splash Starheim Unleashed in basically any deck. Starheim Unleashed, because, like, you want to foretell it, so it's single white, and it's just so broken. Well, I didn't realize the opponent messed up if that was my main phase and I could have pooled the mana. Obviously, it would have been better to play Finn than make a Manalith. And there's nothing wrong, of course, without exploiting your opponent's mistakes. But presumably, they could just do that during my upkeep or draw, not main, so I didn't realize they were in my main. The play I made was right if we were not in my main and we didn't need to be, but the opponent may have messed up. Okay, so what do we want to do now? I don't really want to put more stuff out of my hand, because they could have a sweeper. Sweepers don't exile, so I can bring Narfi back. Do I have enough mana to Svella and Narfi? Probably. 2, 4, 6 counting Sculptor, 9, 11, 12. Yes, I do. So I think I will just attack Narfi and Svella this turn. because I don't really want to sack the land or play cards from my hand yet, because I'm winning by so much on board and I have a Svella to activate. And it's a pretty good rule with Svella that you activate it unless you're under a ton of pressure, even if you have better stuff to do from your hand. The reason for that is if they kill Svella next turn or the turn after, I still have the cards in my hand to play. But on the other hand, if I play the cards in my hand and then they kill Svella, I can't play the cards off Svella. So if you miss Svella activations and then Svella dies, you lose the cards you would have hit off those Svella activations forever. If you don't cast cards from your hand and you activate Svella and then Svella dies, you still have the cards in your hand to cast later. Now, sometimes the play from your hand is just so much better than the Svella activation that it's the right play. But if you're not under pressure and you can afford to activate Svella, even if you have better plays than what you're going to hit off Svella on average, you should still activate Svella because, again, if they kill Svella, you'll never have access to those free cards again, but you still have access to all the cards in your hand. I'm pretty sure it's going to leave me 3 snow for Narfi, but let's highlight over to make sure. Well, it's showing me that ability. I'll just do this first just to play it safe. So if they tap the 6/6, they might be dead. 2, 6, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. No, it's a little short. Okay, like I said, I don't want to put more out. Oh, and they have a blocker anyway. But I don't want to put more out because I'm winning by so much. So I'm just going to attack with everything but Svella and Svella. Using Svella is not putting more cards out. I'm just preserving everything in my hand that I can. And I'm just using Svella because they could easily have a sweeper. They could easily be holding Blood in the Snow and being stuck on 5 mana. Or they could, have Doomscar if they have white. They don't. They have black, 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 blue, blue. So they could have Blood in the Snow. So I'm not going to put more stuff out. I can rebuild okay, but if they do play Blood in the Snow, this is a good game still. If they don't play Blood in the Snow, I win. So I'll just keep activating Svella and preserve as much as I can in my hand and keep my land floating around and stuff like that. Yeah, they could have tapped the Svella in response to me untapping the land with the Sculptor, but then I'm not sure that would have been bad for me. Then they take an extra hit from the Lindworm. I might have even just had lethal, potentially. Okay, well, that's not going to work. It works as in they'll kill it, but, whatever. It's not Blood in the Snow. I'm still going to have 5 creatures or whatever. Do I have a creature in the graveyard? I do not. So if I had a creature in the graveyard, I would get the Mass Vandal to kill the pillar, but I don't, so I'll get the Bergstrider and tap the pillar for a turn. And then they won't be able to use it on my turn to tap something. Yeah, I might have missed one pump with Mistwalker. That's true. Hey, Froggy Style. Well, I didn't stream yesterday or the day before. I think I'm going to get rid of my stream schedule. I'm not going to stop streaming by any means, and it's usually going to be weekdays afternoons around the time I was anyway. I might just come on a little bit earlier sometimes, a little bit later sometimes, and, stream on Mondays sometimes. Because, the stream schedule has, I think, been a good way so that a lot of people could, kind of get exposed to my stream on a regular basis and know when I'm going to be on. But I feel like it's resulting in me streaming less total than I would be if I didn't have it. So, I think in general it'll just be better for if I just try and stream mostly on weekday afternoons and just come on, when I can, as opposed to coming on at a certain time if I can, and then not coming out at all other times, period. So my current plan is basically to get rid of the stream schedule, but still usually stream weekday afternoons. And then sometimes I'll come on at 5, sometimes I'll come on at 1, sometimes I'll come on at 3, whatever. Sometimes I'll stream on a Monday, sometimes I'll stream on a Tuesday, etc., etc. Don't have to tell me, Pot Valiance. I did that several weekends in a row. All right, so let's just start with the green source and path. We don't know what we want to name off Veil yet, but we do know that we already have a good tap land to play, so we can play this turn 1, path turn 2, and then see what our mana looks like after that. Brack is not whack. Okay. Oh, the logo covers people's stream name or people's screen names. My opponent's name is BRAK. Is not whack. I don't know what that means, but okay. So we want a black source, but it's not a snowland. We have Narfi, so getting a snowland does matter. Can we afford to go grab Snow Forest? Because that's our only snow basic. We have Island already. No. We could call black, but then we don't have red. So I think we just get black. It would be too greedy to get a Snow Forest here. Oh, I do both worse when I do it, but who really cares? It's not a competition, you know? I generally try and focus on the poker and then just play Magic pretty badly when I'm playing from my phone. Okay, so what are we going to do now? Tap land plus Shepherd. That's all we can do this turn. Does which tap land matter? Next turn we want to play Necromancer. The turn after we want to play Narfi. We have on-tapped Swamp, on-tap Island, so not really. I don't think which tap land really matters. Go ahead and just put out the Floodplain. I guess somewhere down the line, it's more likely we'll draw a basic forest since that's the one we have the most of. And then maybe if I go Swamp, Necromancer, Island, Narfi, I can still sack Stronghold now that I have white out. If I just draw a forest over several turns. Yeah, plus deferring the decision on Veil is good. If I played Veil, I would call red. But yeah, I was definitely going to defer the decision on Veil. I was debating between Stronghold and Floodplain, mostly. Okay, no real decisions. I mean, Finn would be about as good as Necromancer, but using 2 mana instead of 4 would not. So go ahead and put out Necromancer. I'll definitely block with it if they attack. I don't need to play their cards. My hand is incredible. I just need to stay alive. So I'm not really worried. I'm just going to throw it in front of them with this. Whatever they have, they have. Hopefully it's like Jarl and not like the +2/+0 and bring the card back, because then they get to draw another card. But next turn I have Narfi, another speed bump to throw out. And like all I'm really trying to do is keep throwing speed bumps in their path. And then I get to the point where I have path activation and Shepherd bring back Finn, and I probably win. Yes, I have 3 Snowlands, so now I'll discard Narfi. And I don't have 3 out at the moment, but whoops, that's not what we want. Cast Finn. Put another Snowland out, naming red, unlocking the rest of our hand. Oh, they didn't get their Packmate back because it got exiled with Necromancer when it died. That was actually gas. I didn't even realize that. I mean, it wasn't like their play was necessarily wrong. So I know they get the zombie, but I already have the Shepherd to bring the Finn back, so I'm going to block. But yeah, their play wasn't necessarily wrong because my creature was a 4/4, so they had to give it the +2/+0 in order to kill Doom Necromancer, or whatever this thing's called, Draugr Necromancer. But it exiled it, so they didn't actually get it back. That was kind of cool. They did, on the other hand, dump a bunch of stuff out, but I think we can just Shepherd back Finn, so we have 2 nice blockers for this turn. Looks fine. So what are our blocks? I guess we would block the 2/2 and the 2/3 if they attack with everything or something. If they attack with Boreal, I'll just trade Finn for it. So we're pretty even on board. And then our hand is really good. So as long as I don't have anything to blow this game open, we should win. Can I activate Path next turn? I think I probably can. Red, black, blue, white, green. Yeah. Yeah, so next turn I'll just play land 7 and Path the Outrider probably. I'm just going to do that now so they don't get any more counters out of it or anything. Sactivate, that's cool. I never heard that term before. Pretty strong, but I'm not too worried. I really can't conceive of how they can win this game. Like, I'm not saying it's impossible. Like, you know, there's powerful cards in the format. But, like, I really just don't know what they can play that's going to beat me. Look at my hand. And, like, the board is, like, a stalemate at the moment. And even if they draw removal, like, I'm at 20. So, like, I mean, they can attack with a few things, force a couple trades. But, like, if they alpha, I'll take, like, 8, but I'll eat, like, 2 creatures. So, really, they'll attack with, like, Sculptor, Boreal, and Sentinel. And then I'll just, like, you know, trade a couple and take 3 and then play more good stuff. I'm not saying it's impossible if they really rip well every single turn, but it's going to be hard for them to win this game. I'm going to play Svella. Even if they kill it, I have 3 seasons to get it back. I can, like, give them the bear token and take, like, Boreal Outrider and then pump all my stuff. So I could just play Lindworm. I feel like I'm already pretty comfortable, though. I think I like playing Trickster's Godheist and Svella here. Trickster's Godheist takes a couple turns to get going. I don't really need to do this with the Lindworms for life anytime soon. I'm at 20, 24, etc. But Svella, if I can start activating Svella, like, that preserves the cards in my hand. And the heist is kind of slow. So I think what I'm going to do is give them the bear, take the Boreal Outrider. This way they can't grow any more creatures. And then I can just grow all my creatures because I have snow mana of every kind. Listen, I do my best to make it a boring stream where the games are not close and interesting. We get a lot of really good games on the stream, I think, but it's not my job to entertain you, even though it literally is my job to entertain you. I do my best to make the game not close if possible. Yeah, Elf Rare Saga could potentially still win the game. They have their own Trickster's Godheist. That's pretty cool. Well, they're going to get Svella. Maybe I was a little greedy with that swap. I wasn't expecting out of the green-black deck Trickster's Godheist off the splash here. So now they're the one who's going to get Svella activation. I don't like that. I could trade Trickster's Godheists. That wouldn't really help me, though. I can trade non-basics. Probably should take their Snowland. I don't think that's important, but probably worth doing. What is Veil on? Red? Yeah, I have a red-green duel. I can just take their black-green Snowland and give them a red one. I guess this is probably worth doing. I don't think it's, like, very exciting, but... Why? Because, like, let's say they have, like, another Boreal Outrider or this one dies and they recur it. This adds black and green snow, so they could, like, pump all their creatures. This adds red snow, so they probably just can't do much with it. Again, I'm not saying this is some kind of awesome, exciting play or something. I'm saying it's probably just barely worth it. Okay, so I think we have 3 seasons to get back the Necromancer already and possibly the Narfi. So I think now let's attack with the 6/6. And then we'll just play a 7/7 in 3 seasons. Does that mean I want to trade Sagas, though? I mean, that just means they get the drain for 3 first. Not that the order particularly matters, but I guess they maintain the ability to swap back with the lands or whatever. But we're mostly just goofing off. I don't think the land swap made much of a difference. Yeah, it might have been technically correct to trade Sagas. And then they get the drain first, and then they can't swap back with the lands. I mean, I don't think any of that makes like it. I think how much that's worth in win percentage is a rounding error, but it may technically have been correct to swap sagas or something. Right, they have Sentinel for red, but not for red snow. My argument was like, this is their Boreal Outrider, and if they kill it and then like recur it, they can grow all their creatures with the Woodland Chasm, but the red snow land does nothing for them. I think it's right to swap, but again, I think all the swaps here mean next to nothing. Like, I don't think it's of any serious importance. Yeah, sure, they can swap sagas again, like whatever. And then like again, like, or they can swap the lands back, like again. No, I don't. I'm not sure. I think technically I should have swapped sagas for the reason somebody in the chat said, because then if I swap lands afterwards, then they can't switch back. But I also think this is all worth next to nothing. Alright, so I don't need to get back Narfi, so I'll go with Necromancer and a land to play, I guess. And let's drain them. So I want to play the Necromancer pre-combat and then attack. Any trade is really good for me now if I have the Necromancer out. So I can send Finn and like a 7/7 Lindworm. Like I'll put a lifelink counter on Finn and this Lindworm, and then I'll attack with the 2/7/7 Lindworms and Finn. I can't send the 3/2 because they'll just eat it. Yeah, whatever. I mean, I don't mind trading Finn for anything. I don't really care about Finn, right? But any of their creatures that die, if their tokens are all blocking Finn, then they're not blocking Lindworms, right? Any of their creatures that die that are non-tokens, I can cast. So, I mean, that's good for me. I can't send, like, this 3/2 because they'll just literally eat it with the 3/5 Svella. But these 3 creatures just have a profitable attack. They're not eating 7/7s, and they're not eating a Death Toucher. And if they want to, like, double block Finn with 2 tokens, okay, I kill both. That's fine. And then those tokens aren't there to chump block the 7/7s. They could have took 3 seasons before I get stuff back and given me the Trickster God Heist. But then I would get both drains for 3. I mean, they're already at 9. They'd be at 6. I'm not sure, Radium Man. I think it's really close. I think it was right to play it, but maybe not. I think I would... I mean, they don't have, like, stuff to get back, right? Like... Yeah, I think it was right to play it. It may have been right for them to swap it, but then I get the extra drain for 3 instead of them. It's a pretty big game. So they're triple blocking a 7/7... So let's kill a 3/4 and a 3/3, leave the 2/2 token. Hopefully they don't hit something that can kill Necromancer. Whoa, their own Necromancer. I wasn't expecting that. It's pretty interesting. So they're getting my Lindworm, and I'm getting their dead little green creatures now. This is a cool game of Magic. Alright, well, what are you going to do? Let's go ahead and cast the Sculptor. I mean, they can't even activate Svella. I mean, they can cast a Lindworm now, but okay. I've never had the Necromancer Mirror before. This is literally the first time. So I want to shuffle in my 3 best cards, but not Narfi. Shuffle in like Shepherd, Path, God Heist. And then from the opponent's graveyard, I want to shuffle in their 3 worst cards. Let's give them like, I don't know, Elder Fang. I'll have lands to discard, Village Rites, I guess. And I guess just a random little creature. Hey, thanks, El Patito. Appreciate the subscription. I don't know Froggy style. All right, let's see. So do I have attacks? Any of their creatures that die, I get. Any of my creatures that die, they get. I have a lot more mana than them. So trades, even if we're both literally just recasting things, is good for me. So I probably should attack with, like, Lindworm and Finn. I don't think I can send anything else profitably, though. Everything else just gets, like, snap blocked and eaten, except the Necromancer, which I can't throw away. I don't even know what's going on anymore. So they get all the Lindworms, apparently. I wasn't expecting that, but I'm okay with it. They can only cast one a turn. It's a nice card. Now I kind of want to play Showdown so that I can get all the +1/+1 counters next turn from all these cheap spells. So I think we want to Showdown now, which means let's just make sure we leave a green up so we can cast Sculptor if we hit a land, or Gladewalker or Sentinel. So let's not tap our green Snowland. That's the one we want untapped. This game is wild. I don't know what's going on with these Necromancers. I'll try and figure it out on their turn. For right now, I can play 2 more creatures, right? I haven't used Sculptor yet. So let's go ahead and do that. Uh, 5/5 looks good. Gets me close. I can attack Nisvella, and if they don't play a Lindworm, then I can attack with it. Alright, let me read these. So, if a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, exile that card with an ice counter. So, anytime, regardless of who owns it, a creature, a non-token creature the opponent controls dies, it gets exiled with an ice counter. And then you can cast spells from among cards that you have exiled your opponent's own with ice counters on them. But not if you own it. Yeah, it's pretty strange. I'm pretty sure this turn is going to be a bloodbath because of Showdown. We have like 1,000 cards to cast. But let's see. So their biggest creature has 5 toughness. So what we're looking to do now is grow our creatures to 5 power. We can realistically, we have what? 4, 7, 10 mana, 11. So we can theoretically, we can bring in Narfi as well. What is Narfi pumping? It's pumping the snow creature, the zombie. So that if we bring in Narfi, that leaves us like 8, 7 if we don't use Sculptor, which is already a 4/4. So with Narfi, so we probably have about 7 we want to work with. Well, I do want to cast Vandal and Lindworm. Oh, but I can get the 8th out of the Sentinel, so that works. So that actually works perfectly. That uses all my mana and lets me do everything I want. So I want to pump something that I'm trying to get to 5. I guess the Gladewalker. And then, again with this, right? And I leave 3 snow, yes. Getting the Gladewalker to 4 effectively gets it to 5. Thanks to Narfi. That said, I'm 1 short of pumping the Outrider, but it also pumps the Necromancer, so yeah, this is definitely correct. And then, I'm just going to attack with everything that profitably can, which is Gladewalker, Packmate, Necromancer. I think that might be it. No, I don't. This doesn't even look good, right? They're not even activating Svello this turn. I can just wait a turn and then attack with everything. Yeah, this is not a good attack. I do want to play more things because that's going to grow things. So I'm just gonna play Infinite this turn and get ready to Alpha next turn. Counter there because that one's gonna be able to Alpha. And then counter on that because that gets that into Alpha range with the Narfi and pass. As long as they don't have Blood in the Snow, we're just going to attack with everything next turn. Now we have 1,000 creatures. They can play a Lindworm, but I even can bring back Narfi, and I still get +1/+1s next turn. So I assume we're just going to attack with everything and the game's going to be over. Well, I think it was already over, but if that's not the icing on the cake, I don't know what is. So let's grow... What? Like, what gets something in range? I guess, like, one of these 2-power snow or zombie creatures. And then... Do we have lands to sack Stronghold and to bring back Narfi? With the help of just the 2/2 Sculptor, I think we do. And then white, and then green. And then the counters, we want one counter on this so it gets to 5. And then I don't think this other counter really matters. I guess I'll put it on the only 1-power creature. And then I still have 3 for Narfi. I'm done messing around. Math is for blockers, some wise Twitch viewer once told me. So my only focus is we're trying to get creatures to 5 power so that they couldn't be profitably blocked, since they have a 4/4 and a 3/5. So I was trying to get them to 4, and then Narfi brings them to 5. Yeah, I thought about Broken Wingsing for the last counter, and it's good that you mentioned that. I should have, as an option. You can obviously stack the trigger and then Broken Wings it, so you'll still get the ability and you'll get a counter. And that could be right in a tight game. I just figured I had so much to do with my mana that I probably didn't want to do that. Like, you know, sacking those Strongholds gives me 2 counters for 4 mana. Casting Broken Wings on my own Showdown as it goes off gives me 1 counter for 3 mana. Actually, I'm not even sure if you can do that, though, because you could... Oh, yeah, you could... No, because it hasn't triggered yet. That actually might not work. Because you could stack the ability and then Broken Wings it, and the ability will still happen. But the ability hasn't happened yet for this turn. So actually, I don't think that works. I might be wrong, but I actually think that doesn't work. Yeah, that was a wild game. Okay, no real decisions. Go get our mountain so we can play Svella. Obviously, this hand's a little dicey mana-wise, but I mean, I'm not going to mulligan. I'm on the play with 2 lands and paths, so it's effectively 3 lands. Hopefully, they can't kill Svella and I can make a Manalith. If I get a single Manalith out of it, then I can cast Showdown, and then I should find more lands. So, no real decisions. Hopefully they don't kill it now. I don't even care if they kill this before I can activate it, because my hand is so loaded. I just want the Manalith so I can cast Showdown and then all these Lindworms and stuff. Unfortunately, they did have the removal, but alright. We're 1 land away from Lindworms. Thanks, Skits. For real, Ryan. Hey, that's a good draw. Land 6 and a white source. We can't do anything this turn, but we're not under any pressure, and our hand is loaded, so I'm not in a position to complain. No real decisions here. Showdown can only do more when we have creatures in play and more lands. Now, it may be more powerful than what you're playing, but we're playing a 6/6, so we'll wait a turn on Showdown for sure. Next turn, we're almost certainly going to play the other Lindworm and the tap land, and then the turn after that, we'll consider Showdowning. The Alrund's Epiphany is a really strong card. When you throw 2 1/1 flyers on Time Walk, it gets a lot better. Obviously, I still like my chances. I might lose, I might win, but I mean, my hand has Lindworm and Showdown in it, and a Path out that I'm, I'm still a black and a blue away from activating Path. But the Alrund's Epiphany was definitely one of the strongest plays they could possibly make there. So I have Masked Vandal for that, and if I play Lindworm, it's just going to get tapped. So maybe now it's Masked Vandal and Showdown. That uses a lot of my mana, and it puts a body in play for me to pump next turn. I was going to play Lindworm and Tapland this turn, but now that there's Pillar out, they're just tapping Lindworm anyway. So it feels like it's better value to Masked Vandal the Pillar and resolve the Showdown. Basically, I'm not waiting for a better target, because Pillar's about the best target I'm going to get, and the Lindworm's going to be way less effective, given they can just tap it. So that's my reasoning. I guess I could Broken Wings the Mistwalker, but I think it's better to get Showdown out first. I want to have spells in hand to do anyway. I'm not really under much pressure. Okay, so if I had hit 2 lands, I would play them, even if they were both on tap lands. But knowing I can only... Next turn, I can play this Forest, I'd rather get the tap land and play this turn. That's why I played Showdown before the tap land, because even if they were both on tap lands, if I hit 2 lands, I have to play one this turn, one next turn, so I don't want to play a land before I play Showdown. But I didn't. I hit 1 land, so now I can get my tap land out, and then I can still play this Forest next turn and not lose it. Yeah, I do have 1 more Vandal. I mean, you said several, like I have 4. I have 2 Vandals, I think. But I do look at 4 cards, and if I had hit a Vandal, I would have wanted to play it off the Showdown to kill Pillar. So, yeah, maybe I should have played the Showdown first in case I hit my other Vandal. I think you're right. Good call as usual, chat. Okay, so I lose any of these, I don't play this turn. I don't have a black source, that's fine. Faithful's not even that good. I do want to play the other 2, so that's 4 mana. And this Forest, I'm definitely going to play the Forest, so let's play it. So that's 4, so that leaves me 4 more to work with. So I can, like, Broken Wings and play these 2. Where do I want the counters to end up? I mean, Finn is going to trade with Cinderheart or whatever anyway. Seems like it makes more sense to put counters on the Masked Vandal. Actually, maybe not. This has Trample. Maybe I'd rather just put counters on the Finn. Oh, I don't have a blue source. Wow, I can't even play 3 seasons. This is not pretty. Good point. Okay, good beats. I'm playing Lindworm instead then, I guess. That was like the weakest Showdown of all time. I hit a black card and a blue card with no black or blue sources. Fair enough. I think if they attack with Cinderheart here, I'll probably just take it. Because I do... No, I don't have double white either. What do I have? Just all basic mountains and forests in play? Can't do anything. That worked out about as poorly as possible. I may have punted this game. Alright, well, now I think I have to take this. Still get the counters next turn. So if I can get another spell to play, maybe I can get the Lindworm out of Cinderheart Giant range. Well, I was trying to spread around my threat. That's why I put the counters on the Vandal, but they do have the Giant out, so I'm not really sure. But I thought I was going to be blocking the Giant with the Finn, but they killed that too. So did not particularly go how I would have wanted it to. I know I had the Broken Wings there to get the counter. I think I'd rather do it at instant speed because I don't think the counter changes anything. If I had the ability to get a second counter, then I could get the Lindworm to 8. That would have been very valuable. Getting the Lindworm to 7 really doesn't change anything. Protects from squash, yeah. They already used one squash. I guess they could have a second. Anything's possible. But so if I put the 6/6 on the 5/4 like I want to, and the 3/5 on the 5/2, and I Broken Wings the Mistwalker, I take 8, 10, 12, and die, so that's not an option. So then I don't really have options, although I don't really know how I can win. But I guess if I trade both of those are the biggest things I can realistically block, and then just kill the Mistwalker. That was an ugly loss. That did not feel like a game I was supposed to lose. I might have punted. I mean, nothing really worked the way I wanted it to. Maybe I shouldn't have showdown. I didn't realize I didn't have black or blue. I could have just Lindwormed that turn. Even though they had the pillar and my explanation was right on the Lindworm being ineffective against the pillar, if I wait on the showdown, I go deeper to find blue and black sources, and then I can cast the blue and black cards I hit off of the showdown. So I think I did punt that. I think the turn I played Mass Vandal and Showdown, I should have played Lindworm because I didn't have blue and black mana, and I didn't realize it. The problem, Chimfunks, is it would have 2-for-1 me also if I blocked that turn, whereas, like, if I wait, I just have to draw any spell. I already had Broken Wings, so any spell I can cast. Or a white land to sack the Stronghold. Plus, like, I'm not expecting Doomscar. My life is not really in range at 11, aside from Doomscar Titan. I think that play was right. I think the punt was the turn I cast Mass Vandal on Pillar and Showdown. I should have just cast Lindworm. But I think my play would have been right, except I didn't have blue and black mana, so there were a lot of cards I could hit off Showdown that I wouldn't be able to cast. And I didn't realize that. If I had realized that, I would have waited, to be honest. Okay, so I want to discard my weakest card or a snow permanent, because I can get a snow permanent back. But if I discard the Glittering Frost, can I even cast the 3 Seasons? Probably not. So I'll just discard Coma's Faithful. Well, I do like 17 lands a lot, but moments like what? Mass Insomnia? I'm not really sure. Okay, so no real choices. Finn and a tap land. When the 7/6 dies, it does 7 and kills my my Mass Vandal or whatever creature that was out. Chimfunks. I either had Mask Vandal or Finn out. Okay, so now what do we want to do? I can, like, Glittering Frost, a Stronghold. It's not like I'm going to sack all 3. That's fine. I can use the mana immediately if I tap these 2, but then I don't have them up to block, so I take an extra 2 damage or 3 damage if they boast. So, is it worth taking 2 or 3 damage to be able to foretell this turn? I don't want to play 3 Seasons right now. It's probably not. I don't even have anything to bring back yet. I'm not in a rush to play Shepherd. So I think I just chill. It's not the prettiest, but I've got Lindworm for next turn. I've got 3 seasons, then I can Shepherd back the 3 seasons. I'm not really in a rush. I just would rather not take extra damage, I think. Okay, so now it's close. So unlike last time, I have Glittering Frost and just Power Sentinel. So if I Showdown, I can cast anything I hit. I mean, I have 6 to Lindworm if I tap my 2 creatures. So I could wait. But I do run the risk if I do that they kill the Lindworm with, like, Feed or Bound. How much do I take? 4, 5, 6, 8, up to 9. But I'll gain 4 from Lindworm, so it's not that much. So this is close. My options for this turn are Showdown or Lindworm. I think I like Showdown because I haven't played a land yet, so I can play a land immediately. Last time I lost the game because I cast Showdown instead of Lindworm. I didn't have blue or black mana, and I hit 2 cards off Showdown I couldn't cast. But this time I have Glittering Frost plus Sentinel, so I can cast whatever I hit. So I think this is right. So now we definitely just want to play a land, and then we can Broken Wings the Flyer, and... Alright, Seaweed knows the power of Showdown. So, I mean, we were going to win, because we play the land, we pass the turn. Then, inside combat, we tap Sentinel and Finn and the 2 lands and play Broken Wings on the Flyer. Then, next turn, we play Mountain and Narfi, and we're off to the races. It was wrong the previous time, but it wasn't wrong that time. Because I had access to blue and black mana, and, like, I could play land immediately and then do things. And the only reason it was wrong the previous time was literally because I didn't have access to blue and black mana. Which is my fault for not realizing, but just to be clear. This hand's pretty rough. I mean, we have Sentinel, so we have to draw a creature to be able to cast things. I don't see how I mull a hand like this. We're 5-2, I think, this draft. We're on the play. I mean, we've got Broken Wings to hopefully slow them down. If we draw a Swamp, it's a great hand. I mean, if we draw a green creature, it's a good hand. Then we can cast Faithful, and we're like 1 or 2 lands away from Lindworm. I know this hand doesn't look beautiful in and of itself, but hopefully we'll draw some stuff. Some stuff besides lands that tap to add only a green. So that's not the worst. I think I want to Broken Wings this turn. Because if I untap with Sentinel, if I draw a land, I can play it, tap 2 for Finn, and then 3 for Faithful, and that's pretty good. So I think it's better to pass and Broken Wings the bind than it is to play Finn in the tap land. Because I want to untap the Sentinel, because next turn if I draw an untapped land, I can go untap land, 2 for Finn, and then tap Finn, Sentinel, and the other 2 untapped land, and play Faithful. Even though it's tempting to kill Mistwalker, I'm pretty sure I still want to kill the bind, because this unlocks black cards, red cards, white cards. Like, all I have are 4 green mana here. Alright, I drew a tap land, so I can't get the Faithful out, but let's go ahead and get that out. Just play it on black, since I don't have a black, just in case the Sentinel dies. I think we're 5-2. I'm not 100%. So again, if we draw an on-tap land, we can Lindworm. If we don't draw an on-tap land, then we Faithful. They should have probably attacked the Mistwalker here first, because now I can block with Sentinel, but if they had mana up to pump it to a 2-3, I wouldn't be able to. I don't know if they remembered Sentinel had reach. So that's not a land, but we can cast Glittering Frost and Faithful, so that looks good. I'm not going to put on the Stronghold this time, because we might end up sacking it, so I guess it's going on Snow Forest. And then we can use this for 2 and those for 1. Not bad. Oh, that's a good card. They really called Artifact and hit an Artifact? Oh, they scried it to the top with Inga. Hopefully, if they scried this to the top with Inga, nice play. If not, come on now. How many Artifacts do they have in their deck? Okay, so I can attack with Finn, play Lindworm. Seems almost scripted. Nothing else to do. Lindworm is still bigger than their stuff. I'm not really worried about it. Plus, if they attack, I can just attack back with all my lifelink. And this second white unlocks these strongholds. I might lose this game to them because of resources, because they have Alrund and Inga. But I'm not going to lose because they sneak in 20 like my last opponent. I've got double stronghold online. Nah, probably, I don't know. This maybe one more draft, maybe not. Wings. We'll see how long this goes. This is... I'm not promising now. Uno mas. Okay, so we have how much mana? 2, 3, 4, 5 for Bergstrider, and then 3. So we can't sack Stronghold and play Bergstrider, so it's one or the other. If I sack a Stronghold, I can attack with these two. They get to block one with Inga and one with Bergstrider and draw 3 cards off Inga, though. That's kind of rough. So I only really want to attack with one creature. So I think... Well, I might need to Bergstrider the 7/7 to keep attacking later, though. It's kind of interesting. So I'm not sure what I want to do. Any trade is fine with me, but I don't really want to let them draw 3 cards. I'd have to win a match or two to make that happen, Metal Mario. I hope you're doing better in the sweatsuit. Yeah, I don't know. What am I Bergstridering? If I Bergstrider, I can't sack. I don't think that's very good. I think I want to just sack Stronghold. Put a counter on, like, Faithful, and then, like, something else. I mean, I'd probably take Vorinclex, but I don't think you're crazy. Pac-Mate is excellent. Because this gives me a nice attack with this. If they trade their 4 or their 3/3 Inga for it, I'm ecstatic. I get my 4 life, and they don't get 3 cards off Inga, which gives me better attacks on future turns. I wonder if decking them is a reasonable possibility. I know it's a little early to be thinking that, but, like, if Finn stops Alrund, I just milled 3 cards. They're drawing extra cards every turn. Well, there goes that, but... Nice. It's the second time I've seen Voxy draft Elves in that. Well, I might chump soon, but I'm not going to chump at 22. The opponent now has 19 cards in their deck. So I can attack for 6 and Bergstrider the Alrund. And then next turn, I can sack the Stronghold and pump Bergstrider and Lindworm for a lot of life. I have to make sure I don't die this turn. They can activate 2 4/4s. I'll have Bergstrider and Sentinel up if I attack with Lindworm. Bergstrider on Bergstrider. This on a 1/1. That's exactly 9. So I can't send the Lindworm. But that's fine. And then the Lindworm basically stops their team. And then next turn, I can Stronghold and gain a bunch of life. So I like that. So I think we Bergstrider the Alrund. We have to hold the Lindworm back this turn. But then next turn, hopefully we can pump Lindworm and Bergstrider and get a nice 12 points of life. I still don't know if we're going to win after that, because, I mean, they have Alrune going and Avalanche Caller. Like, they have a lot of power. But my library's pretty good. Hopefully I can draw Showdown or Draugr Necromancer or just something powerful. Svella. Trickster's God Heist. I could take their Alrune. Narfi would be decent. Even Shepherd. I get a 3/3 flyer, and I get to get back Vandal and kill Bind the monster, and freeing up Finn. That would be a pretty big swing. I'm going to lose this game if I just draw lands over the next couple turns. But if I draw, like, any of those good cards, Trickster's God Heist, take their Alrune, give them tapped Finn, or, like, Showdown a million cards, or Necromancer, so any trades give me their stuff, or, you know, the other card I just said, the white creature, the 3/3 flyer, Shepherd, then I can get back Mass Vandal, kill the Bind the monster, and then untap Finn, so I get a lot out of that. And then we might have a game. If I draw lands for the next couple turns, I'm going to lose for sure. But if I draw any of that good stuff, there's definitely a potential game. That, of course, being the opposite of good stuff. I drew Island, and then they had Depart the Realm, not Love and Life. Like I said, they're really beating us on resources. I mean, now that they bounced the Lindworm and I'm at 14 instead of 21, I'm not sure what happens if they alpha. If I chump the Alrune, I take 3, 4, 5, 9, 13, and then Lindworm gains 4. Yeah, I think I'm just beat now. Yeah, I don't think I can win. See, I'm not the only one who misses lethal. WIS. Alright, we're dead. We're dead.